let's watch one more. This one's called How to Eat a Glizzy. I don't need that one, so I'll be skipping that. What EVE Online's tax havens teach us about New York's future. I think all EVE Online stories are so fun to watch, and the game is so unfun to play.
This is the largest trade hub in EVE Online, a massively multiplayer spaceship game with by far the most realistic financial system in the virtual world.
It really does.
And this is downtown Manhattan, the largest trade hub in, well, the real world. We explored how EVE Online's massive in-game wars were financed, and, at a cost of hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, why they were financed.
Like millions of real world dollars, by the way. The wars in EVE Online cost millions of real dollars. Because the ships that blow up are worth thousands, and thousands of them blow up. It's crazy. It's funny because they're fighting for more money. So like if your guild or your corporation is what it is. If your corp acquires territory that has a lot of resources, you can make money, real money. Because you get all the resources that can build ships and you can sell the ships. So like if they win the war, they stand to make a profit. So they're spending money to make money. It's like really, it's like a capitalistic war society.
There is, however, a type of tax that is far less popular among the players of this game, because it's much harder to avoid and doesn't get used to fund these epic space battles. These are the sales taxes. Every day, millions of transactions take place in the trade hubs across this virtual galaxy.
EVE Online trade screens are so funny. It's like a full-time fucking Wall Street job. People are buying and selling options, dude. It's fucking crazy.
But things got really serious when this tax was doubled to more than 5% a few years ago.
Oh.
There were two important things that came out of it.
A few years ago? When Joe Biden was elected, perhaps?
The financial elite of EVE needed to find a way around these new onerous tax rates. This was the solution. This is a Citadel, a space station that players in the game can construct and place almost anywhere in space. The largest of these structures can house their own market exchanges, which means it was possible for the players to build these structures on the outskirts of established trade hubs and undercut the new 5% tax rate being charged in the established centers. Through the magic of free market competition, this pushed the tax rates in the Citadels from just undercutting the 5% charged in the public stations to practically zero. This caused a lot of problems for these would-be market overlords. Most people just let their stations fall into disrepair, but some stuck it out with the promise that if they were the last man standing, they could raise their rates once again.
Oh my God, it's like
make
Uber.
Insane profits off this market. There is one other thing that's allowed in EVE that's not so kindly looked upon in the real world, and that's shooting down your competitors' establishments. What this meant was that the real solution to this market competition problem was simply to forcefully remove the competition. These private
This is like insane hypercapitalism. That is like literally Pepsi executives shooting Coke executives in the head to get the fucking market share up. I mean, this is like literally unregulated dystopian hypercapitalism.
The process of wealthy individuals moving to more accommodating regions is called capital flight, and there are a number of reasons why it can happen. The most common...
Every streamer moving to Texas because there's no income tax. Yeah. That is the literal only reason, by the way.
For starters, it becomes harder and harder to maintain public services when the people you are providing those services for are paying taxes in a different state.
Yeah.
This means that governments are either forced to run budget deficits or tax the remaining residents more.
Yeah.
But if they tax the remaining residents more,
then
this will
leave.
only accelerate the process of people leaving to avoid said taxes.
Interesting.
Of course, the backup solution of waging war on the competition probably wouldn't go over too well here in the...
New York versus New Jersey, the greatest war I've ever seen. I'm down for that fight. People moving to Texas f***ing our housing market up. Yeah, it is, right? I heard that a bunch of Californians moving to Texas have jacked up home prices. But also, the entire country has jacked up home prices. There's not a place left in this nation that has reasonable home prices unless you're going to, I don't know, Kansas.
So, good news, New York. A spaceship video game says you're gonna be alright, and you can breathe a sigh of relief. And even if that all fails, perhaps New York can save all of its problems by taking a cut of the profits its Federal Reserve Bank makes.
Interesting. I like all the EVE stuff. You can learn a lot about about the real world. It is truly unregulated hypercapitalism in EVE. It's a fascinating study of human behavior because the devs have been very good about being hands off on everything.
Countless magazines and even...
Bro, I remember reading a story about There was like a ship in EVE Online. It was the first time it was released, and it was the most expensive ship ever. It was like 1 billion in-game currency. It was called a Titan. There was this big war coming along, and the first Titan was ever deployed. It was like the first time the nuke was dropped on Nagasaki or something. They had secretly built a Titan. People thought it was too expensive to build, and they had secretly built it, and it showed up to the battle, and it just was fucking. People were fucking running for their lives. Someone said in chat, last year there was a war with 1,300 Titans. Yeah, the economy has grown so much since this first was released that like there's like a bazillion Titans now. People are so rich. There's fucking mega trillionaires that have, corporations that have Titans.
They have defined borders, a standing military, taxation.
Wait, I want to show you guys. This is the world of EVE, and these are the different corps and like their territory, like what they own. So like there's this huge story about this Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers was the strongest and most powerful corp back when EVE was first started, and they had someone betray them from the inside. They had somebody in the Band of Brothers like unlock all their gates or some shit, like change their password. And so overnight they lost access to all of their like hangars, and then the goon swarm fucking invaded. It's like, let's watch it on fast speed. Look, they're huge. And then at one point, yeah, right there. Look. Overnight, dude. Overnight, the fucking largest, most powerful corp gets Game of Thrones, dude. Red Wedding. This place is always getting fought over because it's the most financially valuable, is what I learned. Like, this area of space is like the money maker. It's like the gold mines or whatever. I don't know, but everyone fights over it all the time. Why is no one in the middle? That's for noobs. This is like safe zone. This is like RuneScape Lumbridge. This is where you can fly around and just play by yourself. And this is all player controlled space. Dude, look at this. The rise of the Northern Associates. Holy I've never seen a corp get that strong. I stopped caring about this like in 2013, but like, look how big 2015 the Northern Associates got. And then they get collapsed. I think if you get too big, you get too many enemies. Atrioc, imagine. It would sound cool in theory, and in practice, it would be me staring at spreadsheets. So we're going to need to cut the budget for the westernmost hangar by 3%. So we can afford... It would be so fucking... Would it be fun to watch?
But oftentimes, these industrial entities don't have the capacity to wage war themselves. In these circumstances, they can call on mercenary entities that do nothing but wage war on other...
Bro, how sick would that be? You create just a fucking high-powered mercenary of like the best pilots and the best ships, and you just go around getting paid fat stacks.
You see, EVE's economy is so realistic and so diverse that at one point there were virtual casinos in the game. These were founded, funded, and operated...
Okay, I mean, to be clear, that happens in almost any fucking game where it's even really popular. Habba Hotel had casinos.
2016 kicked off the so-called Casino Wars, as the I Want ISK online casino funded a coalition of players to wage war on the single most powerful corporation in the game at the time, which had wronged the casino in a previous business deal. In reality...
Bro, this is our dark future. You guys keep gambling on Train's roulette website, they're going to be funding a paramilitary to take out our government in a few years. The Imperium, 5 years ago? It's a coalition. It's goons and a friend. Oh, okay, so right about here is when everyone attacks the goons. Oh shit! Oh, the casino war! Oh, bro! Wow, you put a little money in people's hands, they'll tear down your government in a second. I called a guy a nerd in this game, and he put a bounty on my head for 1,000 times more money than I'd ever made in a month of playtime. That's some Sigma shit, dude. He bought the bank. Hey, listen, I'm a hitman. Don't put the fucking rack out on your head. I gotta answer the call. Sorry if you're a sub.
But the Imperium had a better idea. They had seen how finance had decided their fate in 2016, and were keen to ensure they were economically dominant going into the war of 2020. So, they once again looked to reality for inspiration. War bonds are often issued by governments during periods of all-out conflict. This is because modern wars are expensive, and raising taxes is often impossible if the entire economy has been dedicated towards the war effort. These war bonds presented an opportunity for players to invest in an asset that didn't have quite the same risk of being stolen. For clarity, the Imperium would be fully within their rights to turn around and tell these investors to get stuffed, but the hit to their entity's reputation would likely not be worth it, especially if they ever wanted to sell war bonds again to fund future wars.
Right. That's so interesting. I can't believe they literally sold war bonds for an EVE Online war. That's crazy. We're going to watch more, but not tonight. Tonight, I already just made cookies, and I'm going to go eat them with her.